Hello, everybody. Welcome to this live class. Welcome. So, while we're while you're waiting for others, I'd just like to tell everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get notified when we post new videos. Okay? You should be the first person to get the notification. You should be the first person to view. So this is going to be a very, very brief and interesting class. So please get your pen, get your pencil, and get ready, okay? Because it's going to be an interesting one. If you have any question, please write it on your paper. Write it in your paper, okay? Yeah. As you're waiting for others, please write down your questions in your paper. Make sure you have your questions written down. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome new subscribers. Welcome. Everyone is welcome. Okay, this live class is going to be about IELTS. Every question you have about IELTS, please write it down because we're going to cover everything. We make sure to cover everything so all your questions we have their answers. Okay, so please write down your questions. Write down your questions and listen attentively and make sure you watch this till the end because it's going to be a bonus to people that stay till the end. Okay, watch this till the end. So I'm just waiting for like 7 minutes so I can go live. I'm waiting for 7 minutes because our time is scheduled for 1:30. So just 1:24, like 6 minutes. So we're counting down. So please exercise some patience while we wait for others to join. Exercise some patience. Write down your questions, all your disturbing questions. Write them down and be sure to get an answer. Write them down. We're gonna do this on first come basis. You can also drop your answers in my email, your questions in my email. Drop your questions in my email. Then I'll be going through all the questions and I will answer them. Okay. All your questions about IELTS. We are waiting for the time. So once it's 1:30, we are starting live, okay? We're starting live. So I will lead you through everything you need to know about IELTS. Everything you need to know about IELTS, okay? Whatever one you're finding it very difficult, please make sure that you listen attentively because we're going to tackle everything now, okay? And if you can go through my videos, I have lists of videos that I've done, and I gave a detailed explanation of everything. So just go through my videos and you'll see everything that I've explained there and watch everything till the end. You're gonna get answers to your questions. Okay. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. Do that because if you don't subscribe, how are you gonna get notifications? You won't be notified when I upload. So you have to subscribe so that you get notifications. And let me tell you, it's very free. It's free to subscribe. Just that subscription button, just click on it. That's all. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to do anything else. Just to click on that notification bell and click on that subscribe button. That's all that you have to do. Okay. Okay. We're waiting for more 4 minutes. 4 minutes left, and we're gonna start this. 4 minutes left. We are going to start with brief introduction of what IELTS is. I'm going to tell you my experience with IELTS, and I will discuss all the major sections in IELTS and the tricks that you can use. Okay, so if you are having it difficult, if you are finding IELTS as a most challenging thing that you have to do, please just stay tuned till the end of this video, and your questions and your questions will be answered. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome everybody. Okay, you can just comment where you're watching from. Just write where you're watching from. Comment, okay? Comment where you are watching from. Let me know where everyone is watching from. Stay tuned. We just have 3 minutes. 3 minutes left. Okay, 3 minutes left. Just stay tuned. Okay, all your questions will be answered. Write in the comment section where you are watching from. Okay, and which one is your most difficult um, section in IELTS. If it's reading, writing, listening, speaking, whichever one you find difficult, just type it in the comment section. Okay. Then your questions, you can also type that in the comment section because I'll be picking randomly and I'll make sure I answer most difficult questions. Okay. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Okay. I know IELTS can be very, very challenging, especially when you are combining two things. You're working, you're studying for IELTS, so many things. It can be, you have to be mentally, physically, you have to be focused in all aspects. You have to give IELTS your full concentration. It consumes every part of you. It consumes your time. It consumes your everything. Okay, I know about that. So that is why I'm organizing this live class so I can get in touch with my fans and discuss one-on-one with them and know their most difficult and challenging section in IELTS. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So 2 minutes left. We're going to go live. 2 minutes left. You can share this to your friends. If you know anyone that is for interest, just tag the person, share this, and make sure the person joins. Okay. It's going to be a very interesting one. It's going to be a very interesting one. And it's going to be brief. We just have a minute left. It's going to be very brief and interesting. All your questions will be answered. All your questions will be answered. Just a minute left. Minute left. So difficult. When I was preparing for my card, I never knew I would get what I got in IELTS because I saw IELTS like a big deal. It was like a big deal to me. I hear some stories of people writing so many times, people writing like 20 times, 16 times, 3 times, 4 times. It was so God, I was like, will I ever pass this? Will I ever move on with IELTS? What do I even leave IELTS and go to OET? There are so many things I was thinking about in my head. Do you think I will ever make it in IELTS? Okay, so it is 1:30 now, so we're going to go live. Okay, so while we are waiting for others to join, I'll just give you a brief explanation of what IELTS is. I know most of you know about it, but I also know that some people are new. Some don't even know what IELTS is. Some still don't understand IELTS. Okay, so this video is for everyone. Okay, what is IELTS? IELTS is International English Language Testing System. Okay, so they are just testing your use of English. So it's not something that you can't do. You can do it. It's not something too much that people cannot do. No, it's a task that someone can achieve. If I can achieve IELTS, if I can pass IELTS, then every other person can pass that too. So in IELTS, um, if you are not from an English speaking country or maybe um, you are not a native speaker, you must write IELTS before you travel to the country where English is a native speaker. Mm, where English is their official language, okay, you must have to write IELTS. Okay, so now we have 4 sections. We have the listening, you have the writing, you have the reading, we have the speaking. So you must have to pass all this before you can pass IELTS. So I know some countries accept like 6.5 in writing, some accept 7. I'm talking about academic here. Some accept 7, some accept 6.5 in writing. Why some maybe you're going for studies or some accept less than that. But if it's for professional means like you're going to work as a nurse or anything, it's 6.5 for UK and 7 in most other countries. Okay, so but other sections has to be 7. Okay, you have to get 7 in reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay, so now IELTS writing. IELTS writing is usually the last one written. Okay, so it's either you do computer based or you do paper based. Okay, computer based where you type in your answers with the computer, paper based where you use pen or pencil and or eraser to write it down. You're gonna write everything down in paper based. All of them have their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so IELTS writing just have 60 minutes, 1 hour to conclude both part one and part two because it has two parts. Okay, so the first part, the part one, just like 20 minutes. You're expected to write at least 150 words, okay, for 20 minutes. Then part two is 250 words for 40 minutes. Okay, so for you to pass IELTS, you shouldn't write less than the recommended word count. You should write within or slightly above the recommended word count. I advise that you should not, because most people bring that as a question. They would be like, I've written my IELTS, I just completed my IELTS today, and because of time, I wasn't able to finish write the recommended tax for recommended what counts for tax two. Will I pass? And I'm like, if you're aiming for 7, or band 8, band 9, I'm afraid you can't get that band score you're aiming for because you have to write it to the recommended word count before you can get up to 7. So no matter how good your writing skills are, you may just end up in 6 or 6.5. So I'm afraid that is it. That will be the outcome. So that is why it's good to practice to write we write um at least 150 words or 250 words for both 1 and 2, or you go beyond it. It's always good you go beyond it, okay? So that is for IELTS writing. Then for reading, you're expected to answer 40 questions under 1 hour. So for academic, you have 3 passages, 13 questions each. So you read the passages, and you answer the question. That is it, and you should attempt all questions. Okay, that is all about reading. Reading should attempt all questions. Each passage you should spend like 20 minutes in each passage. Okay, that's the advised number of minutes you should spend in each passage. Okay, so for the speaking has 3 parts. Okay, you have the first part where they just ask you some questions that you know, some minor questions. Where's your hometown? What is your name? And so many other things. They ask you some things that you should know, just a one-on-one, and it's just like about 3 minutes. Okay. Then the part two, you'll be given a question to think about it for 2 minutes and write and talk about it for 2 minutes. You'll be given a pen and paper or pencil to just jot down what you have written, and I advise that you make use of the time given to you. You should think thoroughly about the topic, jot down, take notes of the topic of your what you're thinking of, the answers, the points you're gonna make, then talk about it for 2 minutes. Now you should continue talking until the examiner stops you. You shouldn't stop for any reason. Continue talking until the examiner stops you. For the speaking, if you mastered the ability to, haven't mastered the ability to tell stories, then you should do that because it really works in here. Because you're telling stories that you don't even know. You can just frame up stories. So you should master the ability to frame stories. So that is it in speaking. Okay. So then for the third part, be asked more professional questions. Okay, they can ask you maybe about geography, they can ask you just more professional questions. This involves logical reasoning. You have to reason before you answer. You shouldn't just jump in to answer. Okay, you should reason before you answer. Okay, so now for the listening, you have to answer 40 questions. Okay, under 35 minutes or 40 minutes. So you answer 40 questions, you listen to an audio, then you answer. Okay, that is just about listening. Okay, most times listening is the most easiest part for some people, but for some it can be the difficult part for some. Okay, so I'll tell you my experience. I I started IELTS. Oh, I was preparing for IELTS and I wrote IELTS in after a month. I started preparing for it. My baby was 2 months old then, and you can understand the the difficulties to nursing a baby and concentrating to write my IELTS. Sometimes I would take my baby to the classes and she'll be crying. She wouldn't let me do anything. And people would be like, this woman, are you sure you're gonna pass this IELTS? But it has to do with determination. I was determined to pass it. I was determined to write it and pass it then. So maybe if I had waited, I don't know what would have happened. But I was really determined to pass it. So I continued. I was reading, even sometimes, even when she's sleeping, I'll be reading and I'll be thinking. I read about tips. I went online. I researched so many things. And that was why I was able to get an 8.0 overall in IELTS, which I think is a very good one. Okay. It's a very good one. Okay, that is it. And till now, I still think, how did I do it? It was like shocking to me. Still shocks me how I was able to do it with my baby. I know how she disturbed. She wouldn't let anyone carry her, but that is it. I was able to do it. So why am I telling this story? I am saying it because people will think I am engaged with some one activity or the other, and how do I think? How do I concentrate on this activity and concentrate on my exam? No, you can do that. Perseverance, I always tell people, is the key to success. If you don't persevere to achieve something, you are not going to achieve it. Please, if you are getting any positive value from this thing, please just comment and give me the love button, love reaction. Okay, so that is it. If you don't persevere, you are not going to do it. You have to persevere. Okay, so now I'll give you the tricks, the tricks and the tips for each section. Okay, so for listening, what I always advise people is that you should listen attentively. When you are listening, when you are doing the listening part of IELTS, your attention, your focus, you should give 100% attention to what you are doing, to the audio and your book. Okay, listen and write down. Okay, now you are given an audio and you are like given some minutes to go through the questions before you, some seconds, like 20 seconds or 20, you go through the audio before, go through the question before you listen to the audio. Okay, now that time that is given to you, please do not joke with it. Do not joke with it. Take that, make use of that time. Go through the question, look at the question. You're not looking for keyword. You are looking for keyword. Look at the question, look at everything, note down keywords. Then before you make sure you do everything, you can use your pencil to just underline the keywords. Then before they start playing the audio, so that it will be very easy for you, because as you are listening to the audio, you're paying attention to the keyword and you are listening to it. Some people they if they don't, they just forget. Once the audio starts playing, they forget the choices. Now, I am telling you that you shouldn't focus on the choice. Your options are just there to confuse you. From as you are listening to the audio, forget about the choices. First of all, read the question. Don't look at the choices. Don't look at the options until you start listening. Until you have listened and you have known the answer, then you look at the options. Once you look at the questions, note the keywords, then you listen to the audio. As the audio is playing, you are looking for the keyword. You are making sure you hear when the examiner mentions the keyword. Okay. Now, another thing is that these audios may not come the same way the questions come in. No, it's going to be very different. It's not going to come the same way. It's going to be different. Okay, so that means you have to master the ability to paraphrase because you will paraphrase it. So also advise that when you look at the question, try to look for a synonym for the statement. For the question, look for a synonym so that when you hear it, no matter how you hear it in the audio, you'll be able to know what the answers are and you write it. That is how to do it. Okay. Then I also advise that you should I also advise that you should make sure that you listen, look for the keyword, then you note it down. Okay? Look for keyword, write it down. Okay. For map reading, I recommend that you just take a pencil and you listen and you have to focus and you have to look very well. You have to look very well at the map and you're listening. So you can just trace everything as you're going. They'll just be like, we are starting here, and they'll be taking you through everything. They'll be going, they'll just like they'll come to this part, they will explain what the part is, not sit down and you follow them. IELTS is sequential. So you're not going to go to the last one before they get to the first one. So you just have to follow them sequentially like that. Okay? You have to follow them. Yeah, welcome if you're welcome if you are just joining for the first time, please welcome. Okay, just drop your comments, drop where you're watching from and your questions. Okay, we're going to answer it as soon as we finish all these things. So another thing is you have to master the ability to listen everywhere. When I was doing mine, I was listening to everywhere. I was listening to even inside the car. I tried to listen. I tried to play some audios and I'm listening to their words, to how they pronounce some words. Okay, that comes to the next tip. The next one is if you haven't mastered the ability, the way the white people pronounce some words, it is good for you to start now because the way they pronounce is not the same way as ours. We pronounce ours. Like some numbers are so different from the way we pronounce them. Sometimes they pronounce zero as O. And now you will think it's the alphabet O that is being recorded, that is being called. No, it's not that. So you can go and maybe check the how they pronounce the alphabet, download it. I did that when I was preparing and I think it's good. Download it and listen to the way they pronounced it. Okay. Then another tip is when you are given 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer booklet, please make sure that you don't transfer until the order is made. In listening, you are given 10 minutes. You'll be writing everything in your question sheet. Then after the audio, after all the sections are done, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer booklet. Please make sure that you transfer everything when the order is given. If the order is not given that you should place, you shouldn't do that. Just when if you are done, you can just wait, pause until the order is given. And they will now and you can now start transferring because it has failed somebody. I was in the exam hall. I heard a story when somebody was writing and the order has not been given, but the person has already started writing because maybe the person thinks that he or she may not or write fast or complete all the 40 answers when the order was given. So she decided to start and writing the answers before the order was given. And the examiner just came and just crossed over what she wrote before the order was given. Okay, so that is it. That's why you have to pay attention to orders. Then for the reading, I think some tips are similar to that of the listening. For reading, you really have to pay close attention to the question. What I do is I don't read the passage. I read the question first, then I read the passage. You have to master the ability to scan, to skim. These are two top tips. So for scanning is just the ability to scan everything. You're scanning the passages before you read the question. This might work for people, but for me, it didn't work for me. I don't know if it worked for you. So what I advise people is I don't go ahead to scan the question before I go back to the to scan the passage before I go back to the question. What I do is I first of all go to the question, I read the question, paraphrase it in another way, not keywords. Okay, for example, the question is where did John go to? That is the question. So now I am I know that the keywords are John and go. So now you've noted that these are the keywords. Then you have to you have to check all the questions. Then when you start going through the passage, you're looking for John and you're looking for go or anything that is that can be used to paraphrase go. It can be traveled, it can be any other thing. So you are concentrated on these two keywords. That's why it's good for you to paraphrase, to look at the keyword, the question before you go over to answering. Okay. The reason, the why another advantage that this offers is that it saves time for you. You don't have to waste your time that you are scanning the whole passages. You don't even know what you are scanning for. You have to know what you are scanning for. All right. You really have to know what you are scanning for. Okay. That is reading. So reading can be easy and it can be difficult if you don't pay attention to it. It can be so difficult for people. Okay, so now I really advise that you note your synonyms. IELTS, they like synonyms. They can't do without synonyms. So everything they have to do is about synonyms. You have to note your synonyms. Take note of synonyms. Take note of synonyms. You have to know your vocabularies very well. So if you haven't started building vocabulary list, you should start now. Start building vocabulary list. Okay. Then the next one is writing. For writing, I I advise that you write the tax one before you write the tax two. You have 20 minutes to write tax one, 40 minutes to write tax two. Okay. So you have to write it. Just give that 20 minutes to tax one. Don't write tax one before for 30 minutes or 25 minutes. Give 20 minutes or less to tax one, then concentrate on the tax two. Tax one just like covers like one third of your IELTS writing score, while the tax two is two third. Okay, so if you focus all attention on tax one, you may not get what your required band score. You may not get it. Okay, so what do you do when you want to start writing? When you want to start writing, you first of all read the question given to you. You read the question, then you think about it. You analyze the question. Take like 2 minutes, 1 minute to analyze the question. What do they require of me? What do they want me to write here? How do I go about it? These are things you have to think about. Then you plan. You plan what you're going to do. Another thing I also advise is I read tax one, I read tax two, I analyze tax one, I analyze tax two. So now you can use if as you're writing the tax one, you can be thinking of ideas to develop your points in tax two. If you are good in multitasking, you can do that. But if you're not good in multitasking, just please forget about it. Just go over to tax one, read and analyze tax one before you start writing. If you don't plan before you start writing, you are not going to get it. You might end up writing and pausing to think of idea, writing and pausing to think of idea. So I advise that you plan before you write, plan before you start writing. That's that about writing tax one. In writing tax two, you should make sure that you check, know the same thing, analyze, know what is required of you, what you're going to do. Check the question, what are they telling me to do? Are they telling me to write the advantages or disadvantages? Is it whether the advantage outweighs the disadvantage, or is it if to what extent do I agree or not? Look, read it very well, read the question very well. Okay, read the question very well. Then plan. Write your introduction, body paragraph one, write your body paragraph two. Then after everything, go over and read everything. You're checking for errors, you're checking for whether you wrote what the recommended word count. You're checking for everything. So you go over and read. Okay. So the questions, I can get some questions here. So someone says, can you tell me the disadvantage of computer-based exam? Okay. Computer-based exam can be good if you have mastered the ability to type very well. Okay. So you really have to know your typing skills. If you can't, if you can, if you can't type fast, you may not get it in computer based. So if you're someone that has to look at your fingers before typing, before you look at the screen to make sure you are getting the letters very well, then I don't think computer based is for you. You should go and master the ability to type well. So that is one of the disadvantage of computer based. If you don't know how to type fast, you might end up consuming your time without even getting to know where. Okay, so you are more restricted to follow the pace of the audio. Okay, this, for example, in paper based, you are given like some time to look at the question before you go over to the audio. Okay, now in computer based, you're not given any time to look at the question in section one, section two, three, and four. You're only given time to look at it in section one. We are not given time to look at it in section two, three, and four. So that is what I think. I think is one of the biggest disadvantages. You really have to master computer-based IELTS writing before you go over to it. Okay. Now, so I think this is one of the major disadvantage, and but it has advantages too. You get your results as soon as possible. Maybe I think it's within 5 days you get your results. So, but paper based you have to spend time getting your results. Okay, so and another thing, you can copy and paste. So all of them have their own disadvantages. Okay. So now another question I got is, can the paper based exam be written with a pencil? Fine, yes, perfectly well. It can be written with a pencil. I wrote mine with a pencil. I wrote my own with a pencil. And I think it has so many advantages to it. One of the benefits is that you have the ability to erase. You won't, if you make mistake, you have the ability to erase and start afresh and start writing with computer, with paper based. If you're writing with a pencil, you can cross over, you can erase. But if you're writing with a pen, it's difficult for you because your word will be so untidy. Okay, so you can use pencil and eraser. And that is what I recommend. I recommend that you use pencil. I don't recommend you use pen. I used pencil for mine. Okay. So use pencil. Yes, use pencil. So anyone telling you that you shouldn't use pencil, I think you should start now. If you don't know how to use pencil to write, then when you are practicing, you practice with pencil. Practice with pencil. Get a book. Practice with pencil. If you make mistake, erase it. Okay. Practice with pencil. Okay. So, um, another question is, someone said, while listening to I don't know, I think it's multiple choice, I read it, but as soon as the audio starts, I forget the question as soon as I look at the choices. I've talked about this before. Now, this is why you have to forget about the choices, the options. Forget about the options. Okay? As you are listening, you look at the question and pay attention to the audio. Look at the questions and note down the key word. Paraphrase it. Okay, there are so many ways you can paraphrase. There is something like grammatic paraphrasing, there's simple paraphrasing, and there's idiomatic paraphrasing. Okay, for some questions, the idiomatic paraphrasing is used. For some questions, simple paraphrasing is used. Okay, so you really have to master the ability to paraphrase effectively. Okay, welcome. I can see you guys. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Please, if you are seeing anything, if you are getting some value in this, please let me know about it. Let me know where you are watching from. Let me know where you are watching from. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. So you have to paraphrase. Okay. So you look at it, you listen to the question, listen to the audio, and you start writing. Okay. Don't go over to look at the choices. I don't advise that. I advise that you forget about the choices, the options, forget about the options. You're concentrated on your paraphrased version of the question. Okay. Now, if you are trying to paraphrase, you have to paraphrase questions to statements because that is how you're going to hear it in the audio. You're going to hear it like that in the audio. Okay, one of the questions, for example, you'll be like, Hmm, computer ha- um, computer has several types. Okay, so these are the questions. This is the question, and they will list some options. Now you're not going to see it like that. You're not going to hear it in the audio like computer has several types, and it may not come like that. They can paraphrase it to another version. You can say the types of computer include. Now you're waiting for computer has several parts. You might not hear computer has several parts. That is why you should remove the choices. Remove the choices. Now another thing I also advise is you can take down notes as you are thinking of the answer, as you are listening to the audio, and you hear computer has the several types of computer include. You'll be hearing them as you're hearing. Take down notes. Okay, take down notes. Then after taking down notes, you can go over the options. Then you write. Okay, go over to the options. Then you write the answer down. Okay, then that is it. So you have to master the ability to paraphrase effectively. IELTS, they like synonyms a lot. So if you don't paraphrase, you may not get it. You might be looking for a question where they're talking about something else. You might be lost. You might not even hear where. That's one thing about listening. You may not even hear it. Okay. So you have to paraphrase very well. Okay. Then someone said, "Can I use an analog watch on the exam?" Okay. Can I use an analog watch on the exam? Then I will tell you yes. You can use an analog watch on the exam, but you should refrain from using a smartwatch or a digital watch. But you can use, analog watch is just a watch, a wristwatch that has the time. They just be like, oh, let me just draw something like this. 6, 9, 6, 3, something like this. Oh, I don't know, something like this. That's a wristwatch, okay? That's your analog watch, but you are not advised to use the smartwatch because you might be expelled. Don't use a smartwatch or a digital watch. Okay, so I even think that while you are, instead of going over to look at your time in your wristwatch, there's always a big clock in the screen. Yes, most centers have it. We had mine in our center. So you have a big watch, then, and you'll be giving your time will be displayed. They will tell you when the time is up. They will tell you, let you know how many minutes left. That's it. So that big screen is always there. So it's always good to watch. Instead of you wasting time to check, you know what the time is. You can just look at the big screen. Okay. Now in writing, they won't tell you you have 20 minutes. They just say you have 1 hour. Then when the time like you have 10 minutes, they'll tell you again that you have 10 minutes to round up. So that's why you have to master the ability to write within the recommended time. Okay, as you're writing, you time yourself. As you're practicing, you time yourself. Okay, time yourself. Then you make sure to reference the watch on the clock in reading. What do I mean by that? You should make sure that you use the allocated time. Okay, in reading, I've talked about it before. 20 minutes to write each passages, and there are three passages for academic reading. So now you have 20 minutes. I advise that you spend that 20 minutes or less. You can spend because the first passage is usually the simplest, okay, followed by the second and the third. Okay. So you can spend like 17 minutes in the first and the second, then maybe 20 minutes or 18 in the third. Then use the remaining time to look at your answers and your work. Sorry. So that is it. Then for writing, make sure you use 20 minutes in tax one or less, 40 minutes in tax two. You have ample time to go over. Okay, that is it. So drop in your questions and we'll answer it. So someone said, what is the actual difference between academic and general reading? Okay, that's a wonderful question. That is a wonderful question. Okay, so all of them have similarities and differences. Similarities are you have to write the four sections in all of them, in both of them. Okay. So, but for the reading, for the reading, there are five passages, short passages for the general, then three passages for long passages for the reading. So for the academic. So in academic, the reading comprise of I think about 700 words for each paragraph. There are about three paragraphs there, like 700 words. Same thing, okay, with the passage 2 and 3. But in general, the words are less, okay. So in reading, in academic reading, the passages are more advanced and professional. So unlike in general, that is more simple. So that's the major differences between the two of them. Okay. So reading, you do questions. Each passage comes with 13 questions. Each passage comes with 13 questions, and you have 40 questions in the both of them. 40 questions in the both of them. So now general has more general topics. So the format in general is different from that of reading. Okay. So questions are coming in. Questions are coming in. Drop your questions. Drop your questions, and I'm sure to give you answers in there. Okay. Someone said, "How can I improve parallel grammar skills?" Okay, so that's a very beautiful question. Some people may not know what parallel grammar skills are. So parallel grammar skills. So if you want to get 7, 8, so if you just say that, then the grammar skills must be a sentence like this morning for breakfast I ate a sweet banana. So that is not a parallel skills because you just have as an adjective sweet banana a noun, then apple a noun. It has to be an adjective and a noun, adjective and a noun. So that is parallel grammar skill. So it should have been this morning I ate sweet banana and a sour apple or sweet apple, anyhow. Okay, so that is a parallel grammar skill. So it's very, very good. Especially writing. Thank you for that question. Especially your writing. It's very, very good. And you going to show. So they'll just like if someone has seen going to school and come to people might say that it's false, which is a lie. It's not given. So the question should is not there. The question you can't find it at all in the passage. You can't find it in the passage at all. Okay. Now another thing is quantifiers. Quantifiers are things like few, things like many, or some. These are quantifiers. These are quantifiers. Few, many, some. You have to be aware of this. These are distractors, liars. These are distractors. So if you few of the blacks are intelligent, and come to the question like all blacks are intelligent, the answer is false. Because we are talking about blacks are intelligent. Now they're telling you that few blacks are intelligent. Then the passage you say that all blacks are intelligent is false. Have you seen the difference? That's how you know how to answer them. So for not thinking, the answers and the question, if you can't find the question in the passage, you can't find it, or it is not complete. For example, before, that is what the question, that's for example. Then the Amaka, the school, they tell you that I'm going to school. So it is not given anywhere that Amaka went to shop in the passage. So that is how it is. That's how to answer it. So you have to master your synonyms. So how do you know your synonyms? You build vocabulary list. How I do that is I just put a paper. Each time if I get a new word, I write it down. Then when you write it down, you write the noun form of it, the verb form of it, the all the forms of it. You write it simple. Do it like that, and you use it. You shouldn't write it. You use it. Okay, use it constantly. Okay, okay. So drop your questions. Drop your questions. Drop your questions. So that's so. First of all, just know that you make listen at sometimes noisy places. If you can be able to do your listening in noisy place, you can do it even in the quiet place. So for me, starting, I don't know. There's an thing it works well. It helps me to make sure my attention is focused and make sure I focus or I give all attention to it, focus my attention to it. So even with the disturbing cars, everything, I am still focused on what I'm doing. So I think it's better if this works for you fine. Or if it doesn't work for you, you listen in a good place. You are listening in a good place, okay? So you try to listen. If you do a particular topic and you say you did get on well with it, do it again. Not the reasons why you failed. Why did I fail? Why did I get my requirement? Why? Ask yourself why you failed. Then you go and do it again. Then make your corrections succeed. Okay? So I advise you guys practice, more, practice more, and don't be silent. If you don't practice, you go into you might end up failing, end up not getting your requirement score. So practice, practice. So be the end of live talks. Thank you guys for joining. Please, if you have, I will link the link. I'll give you the registration. Let me go, okay? Thank you guys.